As we plan for our future, many of us parents think about our children. What would happen to them if we were to pass away?
That's right. Today we're talking specifically about leaving money behind, something recently in the news with the very sad sudden death of Whitney Houston and those decisions she made for how to hand down her estate to her daughter.
And our expert in estate planning, David Carrier, is here. We can learn a lot from others.
Right.
They're great choices or they're mistakes. And this is a very big thing that has been in the news a lot.
Right. Well, here's the beauty part with Whitney Houston. I mean, what she proves is that you can be rich, you can be beautiful, you can sing very well, and have a whole bunch of Grammys, and still screw up your estate pretty badly. What Whitney did was a will. Okay, she did the will, which means, of course, probate. Now, in Michigan, like we talked about last month, what that means is now the state is coming after your stuff if you were in long-term care. Well, Whitney was 48 years old. I mean, she didn't make it to the nursing home.
Right.
So the state of Georgia or New Jersey, she had the will done in New Jersey. She was living in Georgia. It's being probated in Georgia.
Okay.
And if you want to read her will, it's no big deal. You just go online, Google Whitney Houston
right
will.
there.
And you can read it all.
171,000 hits on Whitney Houston will.
And she had a rather large estate.
Well, that's a good question. We're not really, but we'll find out because they'll have to file a inventory in the probate court. But what we do know is that she set up her estate the way many people do, probably the way you guys have, which is what I call the pillowcase of cash. The notion is that when the person dies, when the parent dies, what we do is we give pillowcases of cash to the kids. Now, what Whitney did, she made the mistakes that she made are typical. She gets divorced. Does she change her will? No.
Okay.
She doesn't change it. She signs the biggest record contract in the history of the planet. Does she do any estate planning to make sure that that money actually goes where she wants it to? No.
Because she has one child.
One kid, right. And you know what she did? She said, well, if the kid dies, split it between my mom, Bobby Brown, and a few other people. And after they got divorced, she didn't change it. Now, does Bobby come out? Well, she did do a codicil, right, after they got divorced. So maybe yes, maybe, who knows?
Okay, a lot of questions for the court to decide.
Right.
She doesn't get to decide. The court gets to decide.
Because she didn't plan ahead.
Okay.
Now, the lessons that we can all learn, I think, from that is, people think of money being just a good thing. Well, an inheritance can be a blessing. It can also be a curse.
Right.
Think about Bobby Christina, right, who is undeniably the one heir now, the one devisee, the one person who's going to take from Whitney's estate. Well, what Whitney's estate says is when she's 21 years old, in 2 years, on her 21st birthday, she gets 10% of an estate that, is it 20 million? Is it 100 million? Is it 2 million?
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. She gets 10% at age 21. Is she in rehab? Is she going through bankruptcy herself? Does she have other, who knows what's going on with her?
Is she married, going through divorce? Who knows?
You don't know.
Yeah.
But that's where this is the wall of time, you see?
Okay.
And when you do your planning, you're on this side of the wall of time.
Okay.
And what Whitney did, which is typical, is she said, okay, I'm going to take the stuff, I'm going to toss it over the wall. Now, you're on this side of the wall.
Okay.
This is the moment of your death, you see? You don't know what's going on over here. Now, your daughter may be a fairy princess, right?
Right.
Everything may be just wonderful, and so if she gets the ducats, well, isn't that a great thing?
Yeah.
That could be wonderful. But what if, the Black Knight shows up and she's getting divorced?
Okay.
Well, did you really want to split the inheritance with Bobby Brown #2?
Right.
Well,
Who knows?
did you? And what about those student loans? Can't get rid of those in bankruptcy. What about, credit card debt? See, the big tragedy with most estate planning that I see is that the money, either it shows up or it never shows up.
Okay.
Right? Because somebody else grabs it away from the kids.
Okay.
So, one of my questions, how do you put an 18-year-old, how much does it cost to put an 18-year-old kid in therapy, like for their entire life? How much does that cost?
Giving them a lot of money.
That's exactly. I mean, people say millions, because the psychiatrist, it must cost a lot of money. $40,000. You give a kid, an 18-year-old, take away his parents, his or her parents, give him give Give them $40,000 on their 18th birthday.
And say, here
you
you
just
go.
put that kid in therapy for the rest of their life.
So what are some of the answers? I mean, how do we get around this? Because, of course, we want the best for our families and for our children, but we need to be thinking about these things now, about the unforeseen.
Right.
You have advice.
That's something. No.
I hope.
That's what I'm doing here, right?
Yes. And so what do? We put someone else in charge?
You remember Papa Smurf, right?
I love Papa Smurf.
Yes, Papa Smurf. Well, we trust Papa Smurf because Papa Smurf has good judgment.
He's wisdom. He has wisdom.
Incarnate. So what we do is, instead of throwing the money over the wall, what we do is we put it up on the wall.
Oh.
And then we say, hey, Papa Smurf, I'm gone. I'm dead. Okay? But Papa Smurf, I want you to look over the wall and say, you know, how's my fairy princess doing over here? How are my kids doing? If they're doing well, toss the money over. Give it to them. But if someone else is showing up and going to take it away from them, keep the money up here on the wall where it's safe, where it's protected.
Okay.
That's the idea.
What's the legal name for Papa Smurf in a plan?
Yeah, he's your trustee.
The trustee.
Because you trust him.
Okay.
And you're naming the trustee?
You name the trustee when you build your, the wall is there.
Yep.
You're building a trust. And you can do this in probate, which we really don't recommend, because that's sort of what Whitney did. She said, hey, on these 3 birthdays, 21, 25, and 30, dump out the money without regard to what's going on with the fairy princess.
Okay. So no Papa Smurf. No
There's
trustee.
no Papa Smurf. It's just dump the money out.
What if I die, I have established a Papa Smurf, then he dies?
Well, what we do in the plan, what I do is we say, okay, we got number 1, number 2, and then we always put more than one. We have a succession.
Okay.
And then what we generally will do is put a corporate trustee at the end of the at the end of the line.
Okay.
So then instead of going down and asking the judge to, hey, could you appoint a trustee for me? I've got a company that'll do it. Now, what if Fairy Princess doesn't like Papa Smurf?
Right.
What if Papa Smurf says, no school for you?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, what we do is we build into the plan so that at a certain age, now we don't say, give me the pillowcase of cash, but what we say is, hey, I don't think Papa Smurf's doing a good job. Let me get the other Smurf out there and let him be the trustee. Because we want the Fairy Princess, we want your kids to have control over the inheritance.
But just maybe some wisdom within that.
Right. See, what we're trying to do is protect the inheritance for the kids, not from the kids.
Right.
See, we're not, it's not like, oh, you'll be alcoholic, oh, all these. No. What we're trying to do is empower the kid, right? So that they don't have to give it to the ex-spouse. So they don't have to give it to the bankruptcy court. So they don't.
So this is a great point, and there's so many more different things to discuss with people who are looking to do some estate planning. You have some workshops coming up.
That's right.
That people can attend free of charge and get those questions answered.
Then the life plan workshops are really nice because we talk about this kind of thing, get the conversation started. How can we make the inheritance a blessing rather than a curse? And this coming up on May 19th, where we have the workshop in Holland.
Nice.
Yeah.
At the Haworth Center.
At the Haworth Center.
Which is a wonderful location right on the campus of Hope College. David, thank you so much for being here. You really helped to simplify it and hopefully make us have those conversations that we really should be having.
That's the most important part. Get that conversation started.
We work so hard for everything that we have. We want it to be a blessing, not a curse for the people we leave behind.
You got it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.